Have you ever wondered why some prospects seem impossible to close? No matter how good the pitch is, the truth is it's not always about your offer. It's about how the mind actually works during a sales call. Now, if you can understand the 5 factors of the mind, then you can position yourself as the guy they trust. That's when sales calls will become natural. In this video, I'm gonna go over the 5 factors of the mind that will not only help you, collect as much as you can, if not all the cash on the call, but also like close more deals. So factor number 1, minds are bombarded. All right, we get about 6,000, 10,000 impressions a day upon our minds between like emails, phone calls, text messages, traffic signs, advertisings, like people trying to talk to us. So like what I want you to realize is like when we're getting down to the pitch and we're pitching and then now it's time to collect cash, and they try to tell you like, hey, just send over the invoice, I'll get this knocked out. Never do that. All right, I just want to tell you that right now from experience. Never believe them. Okay, like yeah, I understand, like, in some cases they're different, right? Some people will definitely follow through with the invoice, like right when they get off the phone, send that screenshot. But I'm gonna tell you, like believe in people, just don't believe. What I want to say is this: is just keep in mind that people have families. People watch their favorite TV shows, people get emails. So at any time they're like, hey, just send over the invoice, I'll get that knocked out. Just keep in mind, like, the baby might cry. So either they might not take care of it right then and there, or it might be days before they do it. And now you find yourself trying to chase them down to ask them if they paid the invoice. It's always best, if you're not collecting the full payment or you're collecting a deposit, okay, you want to get that money right then and there. Simply because, again, minds are bombarded, all right? So it's best to collect the cash right there while you're on the phone. And the easy, simple way to say is, hey, I just sent it over. Can you confirm that you got it? Now, all I need you to do is once you push submit, just send me a screenshot right quick and I can get it sent into internal. All right, so number 2, right? Minds are unsure. All right, so there's a human nature principle, and I don't remember exactly where it falls out in the line, but people are skeptical, okay, and they're unsure that they're making the right move. You understand what I'm saying? So like, if you cannot convey absolute certainty or make them feel 100% certain that they're in the right place at the right time, that this investment or this next move that they're getting ready to make is the right one, you're not going to close the deal. I read, I think it's Beware of the Wolf or something like that, when it comes to Jordan Belfort. And his straight line system talks about that as well. Like, that's absolutely true. You need to be the one that they trust, that they like, that they feel safe with, right? And all that comes with like building rapport, having relatability, likability, and so they can really be sure that, this is where it's at. This mentor, the guy that I'm on the phone with, or the girl that I'm on the phone with, like, I trust them to take me from where I'm at now to where I want to go. So you got to have absolute certainty. Factor number 3, minds are selective. So the mind is interesting, right? The mind can really like filter out what it wants to keep or what it wants to hear and what it doesn't want to hear, okay? And I know, like, the subconscious mind, like over time, repetition through repetition of you listening to the same music or hearing the same words, like, it gets embedded in your subconscious mind. But I'm just talking from a conscious mind perspective right now. While you're on the sales call, they can filter it out. Like, the mind is selective, all right? So it's like when you talk, and when I first started in high ticket sales or just sales in general, I really was talking about key features, benefits, and like, it wasn't until I realized, like, I started watching my recorded, I used to record my calls, and I go back and I listen and I play, and I'm like, damn, why I didn't close that call, or what could I have done different? And I noticed that I would talk a lot about the key features and benefits, right? And if you find yourself talking more about key features and benefits, like, it might go through one ear and out the other, because again, minds are selective. So what I want you to do is now not only record your calls and listen to your recording so you can see if you're talking more about the key features and benefits over the transformation. Because what the mind will attach to is more so that transformation. All right. And the reason why you want to attach the transformation and talk more about that is because at the end, right, you can tie the set of deliverables, or even if they give you objections, you can now tie the objection to the outcome, the transformation that they were looking for during the discovery. And I'll give you an example, right? Let's just say somebody's giving me an objection, and then I understand that like it's a fear-based objection. After I've handled all the logistical, I would ask, like, let's just say that the transformation, one of the pieces was, I want to, retire my parents, or I want to retire my wife. And, they're kind of like skeptical about moving forward. So I'll ask, basically, right, do you believe that mindset can affect decision making? They'll be like, yeah. And then I'll ask, like, are you 100% okay on where you're at with XYZ, whatever they told me the problem was? And they say no. And I ask them, like, okay, so are you like okay with allowing this current decision making process to dictate like your life and your results moving forward? And they're like, no. And I ask, like, why not? And then after they explain, I ask them, well, what is it that you feel like you need to do to put yourself in the best possible position to be able to retire your wife? You see how I tied that in? Okay, so focus more, and that was just an example, but focus more on transformation and not key features. In order to stay with the transformation, you have to ask questions. Number 4, minds are simplistically complex. All right, so like, the acronym, like keep it super simple. Well, a lot of people, you probably know it as keep it simple stupid, but I don't really like using the stupid, but keep it super simple. I can't even get it out. Keep it super simple. All right, so basically, like when you're on the call, you don't have to use super big words, okay? Like, it's really true. You heard that saying, like, keep it dumb to like where a fourth grade student can understand, a third grade student can understand. So you got to keep it super simple. You don't have to use super big words, all right? Keep it, again, super simple. And like, if you really want to drive a point home, the best thing is to either tell a story or like use an analogy, right? So like an example, because I like to give examples that I currently use. And it's like, again, like let's just say I can identify like there's a little bit of skepticism right before we're getting ready to, like, let's say collect cash or do the pitch. Before we move forward, like, do you remember when you first started driving? And I asked him to walk me through that experience, right? Most people had anxiety. Most people was like, man, I remember, and I was scared, whoop, whoop, right? And I just asked him, like, after they walked me through it in detail, I said, what I want you to do is like, after, you went through that experience, did that like stop you from driving? Or like, you probably can drive now. You probably get right in, don't put the seatbelt on. You probably drive with your knees, huh? And they like, yeah, and they laugh, because I'm trying to lighten up the mood and lighten up the atmosphere, right, to bring that resistance down. And then I say, I want you to take that same approach that you did when you first started driving with this next step, with this next chapter in life, okay? There's going to be some things that, the mentor tells you to do, whatever the mentor's name. There's going to be some things that Prada tells you to do that you might be unsure about, or you might feel uncomfortable with, or you might be, skeptical about, like, why am I doing this, right? But I want you to now go back and think about, hey, when I was scared when I first drove that car, it didn't stop me from getting in the car again, right? So I want you to take that same approach with this next chapter in life. Does that make sense? Yes. See, I kept it super simple, and they fully understand, okay, you know what? They can align with that because they understand it 10 times better, all right? Because I kept it super simple. Last but not least, number 5, minds are sensitive. All right, so like the mind and just people, like certain words may trigger people, body language, tones that you use. Okay, you want to also be like aware of how you say things. What do you do when you say those things? You want to make sure your body language is actually matching your tone. All right, and of course, with body language, like this is assuming like you're taking Google Meet or Zoom calls, right? But you want to make sure like your tone is in alignment with what your body language is saying, all right? Because people will pick up on your tone. And I just want to say this, like tone dictates your intentions, okay? So like if the tone isn't matching how you're asking that question, their resistance can go back up and you can lose that sale, all right? Or if someone is, acting like they got it all together and you kind of like say the wrong word or you try to challenge them in a wrong tone, they might take offense, and then that sale is gone. All right. And what it boils down to is realistically like being able to identify the different personality types. Okay. I'm gonna leave a link in this video to where you can actually get access to that training where I go over the 5 different personality types. Okay. I think it's actually 4, red, blue, green, yellow. So the 4 different personality types. All right. I lost track right there. But anyway, your tone dictates your intention. All right. And keep in mind that minds are sensitive. All right. So you have to know when to be in a challenging tone. You have to know when to be in a concerned tone. You have to know when to be in a playful tone. Okay. Because that will effectively help you get to where you want them to go. All right. And again, if they pick up that the tone is not matching the body language, or the body language isn't matching the tone, they can pick up on that and you'll lose that sale. All right. So that was the 5 factors of the mind. I appreciate you for taking the time out to watch this video. I put together a training program where I not only show you how to dominate in the high ticket sales space, how to actually handle objections, identify personality types, and like how to be more persuasive. You can click on the link in the description. If you're already a closer, you have experience, and like you just find it hard to kind of get on an offer, you could just DM me an Instagram closer and I can get you hooked up on an offer. Now, you've been in the high ticket space before, so you already know like the money that can be generated from being in the high ticket sales space. So for me to get you on an offer, of course, there is an investment. All right. So I can't even say that right. It is an investment. So I just want to be transparent about that. And again, I appreciate you. I'll catch you in the next video.